Volker, and I'm going to give you a persuasive speech on why you should cut down on your beef consumption in order to cut down on your greenhouse gas production, which leads to global warming. Did you know that eating a pound of hamburger is equivalent to driving an SUV? So when you eat a pound of hamburger, it's like driving 70 miles or from here to St. Cloud, Minnesota. In order to cut down on your beef consumption, you're not only becoming a more green lifestyle and cutting back on the saturated fats in your diet, but it's also less expensive to eat vegetables instead of beef. And the third reason why I'm urging you to stop and slow down your beef consumption is that you don't have to stop your beef consumption. You can simply slow it down to a flexitarian diet or a climate carnivore diet, which I will highlight later in the speech. Did you know that nearly 15% of all greenhouse gas pollution comes from livestock breeding and raising? Did you know that the average dairy cow or beef cow belches nearly 117 pounds of methane gas in a year? 117 pounds of methane gas. And did you know that methane gas is nearly 25 times worse than CO2, which leads to global warming? So Texas is the capital of beef and livestock production in the world, and they're starting to feel the effects that raising livestock is having on their environment. So not only is the runoff from the fields hurting the water streams, but this gas is causing pollution in their air. And by 2050, beef consumption is going to raise by 73% worldwide. So if each and every single one of us cuts down our beef consumption, we can together work to cut down our global greenhouse gas production. Beef is not only linked to global warming, but it is also linked to heart disease because of the saturated fats that are inside beef. And new studies have shown that not only this saturated fat is bad for you, but also the bacteria that's inside the guts of the cows from all the methane that they're producing is super bad for the beef that you're eating. Now, in order for you to cut down on beef consumption, you can adopt two different diets. One being the flexitarian diet, where you cut down your beef consumption by 75%. So say you eat a hamburger one day, tacos one day, a casserole one day, and a steak one day. You could still have that steak, but for the other three options, you could use ground turkey for your tacos, or a turkey burger, and then just a salad for dinner. These other options where you still can eat meat, you don't have to be completely vegetarian, but just cut down on your beef. The second one would be a climate carnivore diet, so only eating fish and poultry because they have the least effect on global warming. Now, cutting back on beef consumption will reduce the methane in our climate, and then you will also be consuming leaner meats by switching your beef consumption, which can help your gut as well. So not only will cutting back on beef consumption help our environments, but it'll help our hearts and it'll help your wallets. So to conclude this speech, I'm going to remind you some scary facts. That 15% of all greenhouse gas production is caused by livestock raising, and eating a hamburger is nearly as bad as driving your SUV 70 miles from here to St. Cloud, Minnesota. Let's lower our risk for heart disease and for global warming, and let's adopt a leaner meat lifestyle. Thank you.